Hello, my name is Mila Manelli. My pronouns are she, her, and today I'm going to give a presentation on gender diversity, a guide for elementary educators. Gender diversity refers to the range of different gender identities and expressions that exist in individuals and societies. This means that there are many different ways that people may identify and express their gender, and that these identities and expressions can vary widely from person to person. Gender diversity recognizes that there is no one right or normal way to be a boy or a girl, and that all gender identities and expressions are valid and deserving of respect. It's important for children to learn about gender diversity for several reasons. Children who learn about gender diversity are more likely to be accepting and inclusive of people who are different from them. This can help create a more welcoming and supportive environment for all students in the classroom. Learning about gender diversity can also support the mental health and well-being of children who may be struggling with their own gender identity. When children learn that there are many different ways to express one's gender and that all genders are valid, they may feel more comfortable and confident expressing themselves. Teaching children about gender diversity can also help combat gender stereotypes and discrimination. It can help children to understand that there is no right or wrong way to be a boy or a girl, and that everybody deserves to be treated with respect and kindness, regardless of their gender identity or expression. In today's diverse and ever-changing world, it's important for children to learn about gender diversity so that they're better prepared for the future. They will be more equipped to navigate society that is increasingly accepting of different genders and gender expressions. They will also be able to better interact with and respect people of all genders. Overall, learning about gender diversity is important because it creates a more accepting, supportive, and inclusive environment for all children, and it helps to promote understanding and respect for people of all genders. This presentation will explore different aspects of gender diversity, including gender identity and gender expression. It will emphasize the importance of accepting and respecting people of all genders and provides examples on how teachers can create safe and inclusive environments for all students and members of the community. At the end, I will share some resources for teachers who may want to learn more about gender diversity and how to support their students, including books, websites, and organizations. The term sex and gender are often used interchangeably, but actually refer to different aspects of a person's identity. Sex refers to the biological difference between males and females, such as difference in reproductive organisms, chromosomes, and hormones. In most cases, a person's sex is assigned at birth based on their physical characteristics. Gender, on the other hand, refers to the social and cultural roles, behaviors, and expectations associated with being male or female. It encompasses a wide range of identities and expressions, including masculine, feminine, androgyny, and non-binary identities. While sex is typically seen as binary, either male or female, gender is much more diverse and can be expressed in many different ways. Some people may identify as the gender that matches their biological sex, cisgender, while others may identify as a different gender, transgender. It is important to note that gender is not just about one's appearance or behavior, but it's an internal sense of oneself. A person's gender identity may not always match their biological sex or gender that they were assigned at birth. Understanding the difference between sex and gender is important because it recognizes the diversity that exists in individuals and society. It helps to acknowledge that people may express their gender in different ways and that all gender identities and expressions are valid and deserving of respect. Gender stereotypes can be particularly influential on children in their early years, and it's important to be aware of them in order to promote gender equality and individual freedom. Some gender stereotypes that likely exist in children in elementary school are boys are supposed to play sports and be physically active, while girls are supposed to play with dolls and dress clothes. Girls are supposed to be quiet and polite, while boys are supposed to be loud and assertive. Boys are supposed to be competitive and aggressive, while girls are supposed to be nurturing and caring. Girls are supposed to be emotional and sensitive, while boys are supposed to be stoic and tough. Boys are interested in cars, action figures, and superheroes, while girls are interested in princesses, ponies, and fairies. It's important for educators and parents to challenge these stereotypes and encourage children to explore a wide range of interests and activities, regardless of their gender. By promoting a culture of inclusivity and respect, we can help children develop healthy attitudes towards gender and appreciate the diversity that exists in individuals and societies. Gender identity refers to a person's internal sense of their gender, which may or may not align with their assigned sex at birth. It can be described as a deeply felt sense of being male, female, or another identity altogether, and can vary widely from person to person. There are various ways which individuals identify with their gender. Some identify as cisgender, which means their gender matches the sex they were assigned at birth. Others identify as transgender, which means their gender identity differs from their assigned sex. And some identify as non-binary, which encompasses a range of gender identities that are not exclusive to male or female. Promoting greater acceptance and understanding of diverse gender identities and expressions requires the creation of an inclusive and welcoming environment that acknowledges and validates these identities. Gender identity is a complex and deeply personal aspect of an individual's identity, and everyone should be supported in expressing their gender identity in a way that feels it's authentic to themselves. Here are a few ways that you can emphasize the importance of this. Using gender-neutral language, such as they, them, or person, instead of he, she, or man, woman, when referring to individuals. This shows that you recognize that gender is not limited to binary categories and that all identities are valid. You can educate yourself and others about the diversity of gender identities and expressions. Learn about the experiences of individuals who identify as non-binary or transgender and share this information with others. This can help to promote greater understanding and acceptance of different gender identities. You can advocate for policies and practices that are inclusive of individuals of all gender identities. This could include policies around gender-neutral bathrooms or pronoun usage. Speak out against gender stereotypes and discrimination when you see it happening. This includes calling out jokes or comments that are disrespectful to individuals based on their gender identity. And finally, you can celebrate the diversity of gender identities and expressions. Show your support for individuals of all gender identities and create opportunities to learn about and celebrate the richness of these diverse experiences. By taking these steps, you can help create a culture that recognizes the validity of all gender identities and promotes respect and inclusivity for everyone. Gender expression refers to how an individual expresses their gender through different aspects of their appearance, behavior, and personality, including clothing, hairstyles, makeup, mannerism, and other forms of self-expression. While gender expression is closely related to gender identity, they are distinct concepts. Gender identity refers to one's inner sense of gender, while gender expression is the outward expression of that identity. Gender expression is not necessarily linked to an individual's assigned sex at birth, and people may choose to express their gender in ways that are not typically associated with their assigned sex. It is important to respect and support individuals in their expression of gender, regardless of whether it aligns with traditional gender norms. An inclusive and affirming environment can promote greater acceptance and understanding of diversity of gender expressions. For example, someone who was assigned female at birth may choose to present more masculine or androgynous, while someone who was assigned male at birth may choose to present more feminine or androgynous. Some examples of different types of gender expressions are masculine gender expression typically involves clothing and hairstyles and mannerisms that are associated traditionally with male gender roles. This might include wearing a suit, having short hair, and speaking in a deep voice. Female gender expression typically involves clothing, hairstyles, and mannerisms that are associated with traditional female gender roles. This might include wearing dresses and skirts, having long hair, and speaking in a higher voice. Androgynous gender expression involves a mix of both masculine and feminine traits. This might include wearing clothing that is not strongly associated with either gender, such as jeans and a t-shirt, or having a hairstyle that is not strongly gendered. Gender nonconforming expression involves breaking away from traditional gender norms and expectations. This might include wearing clothing that is typically associated with the opposite gender, having a hairstyle that is typically associated with that is not typically associated with one's assigned gender, or exhibiting mannerisms that are not traditionally associated with one's gender. Transgender individuals often express their gender in a way that is different from the gender they were assigned at birth, or from the sex they were assigned at birth. This might involve taking hormones, having surgery, or dressing in a way that is more aligned with their gender identity. It is important to remember that there is no one right way to express gender, and that everyone's gender expression is unique and valid. Creating a safe, inclusive environment for all students is essential, and it starts with accepting and respecting people of all genders. Recognizing that everyone is unique and deserving of respect, regardless of their identity or expression, is fundamental. By embracing and valuing people of all genders, we can promote a more equitable and inclusive society where everybody feels supported. It is essential to foster a welcoming environment for all students, irrespective of their gender identity, and to encourage acceptance and understanding of all individuals. As an educator, you play a pivotal role in cultivating a safe and inclusive classroom. You can lead by example by demonstrating respectful behaviors towards people of all genders, using inclusive language, and celebrating diversity. This approach can create an environment where all students feel valued and appreciated. Here are a few ways you can emphasize the importance of respecting everyone's gender identity. Using inclusive language in the classroom, as we discussed, creating an environment where students feel safe and comfortable expressing their gender identity and gender expression. Make it clear that discrimination and harassment based on gender identity and expression will not be tolerated. Include diverse perspective and experiences in your curriculum and classroom's discussion. This can help students understand and appreciate the diversity of gender identities and expressions. Celebrate the diversity of gender identities and expressions by acknowledging and celebrating events like Transgender Day of Visibility, International Non-Binary Day, and other gender-related observances. And finally, model respectful behavior towards people of all gender in your interactions with students and colleagues. This can include using inclusive language, respecting students' gender identity and expression, and speaking out against discrimination and harassment. By taking these steps, you help create a more inclusive and accepting environment for everyone. Encouraging students to support their classmates who may be struggling with their gender identity is an important step towards creating a supportive and inclusive environment in the classroom. Some ways that you can encourage students to become allies are help students understand what it might feel like to struggle with their gender identity, or to feel like they don't fit into traditional gender roles. Encourage them to put themselves in their classmates' shoes and consider how they can help and support them. Create an open and safe space where students feel comfortable talking about their expressions and feelings. Encourage students to share their thoughts and experiences with one another, and help them learn to listen actively without judgment. Make sure that you use inclusive language in the classroom and encourage students to do the same. Celebrate the diversity of gender identities and expressions by acknowledging and celebrating events. And finally, encouraging students to support their classmates who may be struggling with gender identity. This could mean offering words of encouragement, being a good listener, or standing up to bullying and discrimination. You can promote a supportive and inclusive classroom environment by motivating students to become allies to their classmates who may be facing challenges with their gender identity. When students feel acknowledged and embraced, they are more likely to feel confident and able to express their authentic selves, which can lead to achieving their full potential. Some book resources that are available for you: They, She, He, Easy as ABC is a fun and colorful picture book that introduces gender, pronouns, and identity to young children. What Makes a Baby is an illustrated book that explains conception, birth, and different types of families in a way that's inclusive to all gender and family structures. Red, a crayon story, a picture book that tells the story of a blue crayon that is labeled as red and explores the theme of identity and acceptance. It's Okay to Be Different is a colorful and upbeat book that celebrates differences of all kinds, including gender identity and expression. Jacob's New Dress is a picture book that tells the story of a boy who loves to wear dresses and the challenges he faces from his classmates and family. And The Gender Wheel. It's an illustrated book that explores the many facets of gender identity and expression through the metaphor of a color wheel. By utilizing these resources and others like them, educators can help students gain a better understanding of gender diversity through storytelling in the classroom and at home. There are many resources available online for teachers who want to learn more about gender diversity and how to support their students. Here are some websites that can be helpful. Gender Spectrum provides education, training, and support to help create a gender-inclusive world. They offer a wide range of resources for educators, including lessons plans, webinars, professional development, and workshops. Teaching Tolerance is a project of Southern Poverty Law Center and provides free resources to educators to promote equality and justice in the classroom. They even offer lesson plans and personal development opportunities. The Human Rights Campaign Foundation provides resources and support for educators who want to create safe and welcoming schools for the LGBTQ2+ community and students. They offer a variety of resources, including webinars and lesson plans. Welcoming School is a project of the Human Rights Campaign Foundation that provides resources to help elementary schools create inclusive environments. They offer lessons plans, professional development opportunities as well. The National Education Association provides resources and support to educators who want to create safe and welcoming schools for students. They offer a variety of resources, research reports, and webinars, as well as lesson plans. And then the Gender and Sexuality Alliance Network, providing resources and support to students and educators who want to create safe schools for LGBTQ+ students. They offer a variety of resources, including toolkits, webinars, professional development opportunities. These resources will help educators create more inclusive and welcoming classroom environments for all students, including those who are gender diverse. Here I've listed a few organizations that you might want to check out. Gender Creative Kids Canada is dedicated to supporting transgender and gender creative youth and their families. Eagle Canada Human Rights Trust is dedicated to advancing LGBTQ+2S rights in Canada. They offer resources for educators, school administrators, including toolkits, lesson plans, and professional development opportunities. And then finally, the Rainbow Health Ontario, providing training and resource to healthcare providers and educators to improve the health and well-being of LGBTQ+2S people in Ontario. They offer a variety of resources for educators, including webinars and guides. By using these resources and others like them, educators can gain a better understanding of gender diversity and be able to share that knowledge with their students. In today's presentation, we explored the concept of gender diversity, which encompasses the diverse range of gender identities and expressions that exist in individuals in society. We emphasize that there is no right or normal way to express gender, and that all gender identities and expressions should be respected. Teaching children about gender diversity is crucial because it promotes inclusivity, supports mental health and well-being, fights against gender stereotypes and discrimination, as well as prepares our children for the future. Additionally, we suggested that teachers have a responsibility to create a safe and inclusive environment for all students and community members by respecting and accepting people of all genders. Provided you with a number of opportunities for self-learning and continual learning after the presentation. So I want to thank everybody for taking the time to listen to this and open up the floor if there are any questions.